Okay, I am here with Brian and Emily Holmes. Hey, Brian. Hey, Emily. Thanks so much for taking time out tonight. I know that life's a little bit crazy. You're both working full time. You're recent first time homeowners. You've got a kid, but thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thanks.
Okay, so a little bit of context before I turn it over to y'all. Brian, you and I go way back. You taught at Grizzlies Prep, where I was principal a couple of years back. You're still an awesome educator in Memphis. Emily, I know that I've met you a couple of times, obviously, before we started this whole process. But really, I'd love to hear a little bit more about y'all's story, especially when it comes to, all right, so why was now the time for y'all? Why was now the time to become first-time homeowners?
So the last couple of years, we've rented a home from a local nonprofit who owns a bunch of homes in our area, and it's a smaller home. We really anticipated just being here for a few years, renting as we saved up, prepared for actually purchasing a home. And we spent the last year and a half kind of keeping an eye on the market for what could be a potential home to
Right.
purchase. And in that time frame, the market just blew up and went crazy. And I mean, homes in our area are going for easily 50, 60 more than they were going for just a year ago. So
Crazy.
we through that time, our landlord had kept saying, hey, we really want y'all to buy this house. And we had said, no, it's like smaller, or we had our different reasons why we didn't think it was
Right.
right. But then the more we shopped around and looked, we were actually like, well, actually, this is a really great deal. We'd be kind of down to walk away from it. And we love this neighborhood so much. We really were trying to stay in this neighborhood anyway. And so, yeah, that's kind of what brought us to this point.
So even before the decision to like, all right, let's go ahead and buy the house that we're renting. You said that you were really kind of preparing. You said about a year and a half. What were some of the things that y'all were doing to make sure that you were prepared to buy a house?
We took a Homebuyers class. We were asking people questions, friends, hey, what did you do for the process? When is a good time to buy homes? I think at one point we were reading little Amazon. I was reading like a little Amazon book about like how to buy homes in the smartest way possible. So we were just doing those little things.
Saving a lot.
Saving money.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Kind of been told that we needed to have, what was it, like 10%, 20% as a down payment. So we were working really hard to have that together. That was a huge piece. But yeah, asking anybody and everybody there.
Well, to chime in, I mean, I think that was probably one of the most powerful parts of the whole process of me working with y'all is when I got your application. I mean, here y'all are, right? Like, Brian, you're a teacher. Emily, I know that you're a small business owner. You also are doing a lot of momming, right, on the side, right? Like full-time business owner, full-time mom. And but by no means are y'all, working at some massive financial institution and making six figures each, right? And so what was really powerful is looking at your application, it was so clear that y'all had worked so hard to get rid of debt. It had been really clear that y'all had worked really hard to save up cash for a down payment. What clicked for you? Just because there are so many people who are y'all's age who are drowning in debt, who have no cash saved up. Talk me through like what clicked for y'all that kind of made you decide like, all right, no debt, we're going to start saving.
Emily's very frugal.
Well, I think we got married and recognized that we came from very different backgrounds when it came to financing. I don't like go too deep on all of that, but it just made us have to have conversations of where are we going to meet in the middle? What are our goals going to be? And you bring this to the table, I bring this to the table, and where are we going to go with that? And I think we just recognized pretty early on that there's always going to be, financial argument, or it's just, it's always going to be tough to talk about. And so where are the ways that we can eliminate some of those stresses? And so choosing to live a little more frugally so that we could tackle debt, like student loan debt, and was a huge piece of it. But then once that was taken care of, transferring our perspective to looking forward to, as our family grows, where are we going to land? What's that going to look like? How can we find a home that will meet the needs of our family, but won't be stretching us, maxing us out.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure if that answers your question.
But no, it does. I mean, also too, if I'm remembering correctly, y'all bought the house that you'd been renting for several years prior. And I believe this is also like one of the cool things about home ownership is people think like, oh, I'm saving money by renting, but y'all's like monthly rent versus monthly mortgage payment. Do y'all know the difference? I'm trying to remember. It was like 200 something, right?
Yeah, almost that.
Yeah, we're saving a couple hundred for sure. But yeah, I think what clicked for me too was just like the idea of like my dad and my family were key for talking about family wealth and like legacy. And so one of the ways they accumulate wealth is like making smart home buyer decisions. And so that was also something I think that helped us to be like, okay, let's put perspective in. How can we continue to grow our own family wealth?
Yeah.
And the awesome thing too is, based without divulging too much information, like based on the price of the house that you guys bought, when the appraisal came back, I mean, we were all like really excited because you had over $20,000 in equity right out of the gate, which was really cool. That was a good call. That was a good day when I got the appraisal back.
Yeah, I think that's kind of unheard of, especially in this market.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so next kind of big question for y'all is, so I remember where I was sitting at my kitchen table. I called Brian because I believe Brian, was it an Xavier or was it Tommy? Yep. Somebody said like, oh, hey, you got an Xavier. So let's start there. So Brian, you and I get on the phone, and then there was that Sunday afternoon. I got on a Zoom call with you, Emily. And so from that moment where we all kind of got together and you're about to fill out a loan application, talk me through like when you thought about the home buying process, when we were there that Sunday afternoon about to fill out an app, what were some like preconceived notions you had about buying a home then? And then how do those preconceived notions compare to like reality now that y'all have gone through the entire process?
Mm-hmm. One of the preconceived notions was we need to save all of our money just so we can spend all of our money so that we can just kill the PMI.
Right.
You mean for the down payment, like save a huge chunk so that we can spend a huge chunk on down
but then like protecting your cash wouldn't have been a thing if we did that. So then we'd have been like, oh, well, we don't have any money just in case of emergency. But,
right. Like we came to the table thinking we need to have a huge down payment. That's just the way you got to go. And then, you're able to offer perspective of like, hey, it's not necessarily wise to just throw all your cash right in here. There's, other things to think about.
I think the one about the interest, like the interest rate was huge. Like we were like, you gotta have perfect credit to get the best interest rate, but then obviously the interest rates go off of so many other variables.
Which I'll tell y'all now, if y'all were to go through the process right now, the interest rate I'd quote you would probably be half a point higher, if not more.
Wow. Already.
So y'all, it was perfect timing with getting the rate that you got. No, that's a really great point. I mean, y'all use the loan program called FHA, which requires a 3.5% down payment. And that's just y'all. I know y'all are probably sick of it, but anyone who watches this, I'm just a big believer in protecting your cash, because think about y'all, right? Like you worked so hard to pay off debt. You saved up all this cash. And like, would it be like a dumb decision to put that all as a down payment? No, like, of course not. But I mean, the best way to protect yourself from getting back into debt is to make sure that you've got cash reserves, right? And so, no, I'm really glad that was a big takeaway that y'all had, because I was like really excited when I saw how much money you had to bring to the closing table, and then knowing how much money you still had left over in case, knock on wood, AC breaks or a rat gets in the rafters or whatever crazy homeowner thing would happen. Emily, anything from your perspective, like when you were thinking about, all right, this is what buying a home is going to be like, when in reality it was like this, what were some differences that you saw?
Yeah, well, I think honestly, I'm not sure I have as many particulars to add to what Brian said, but I will just say it felt very daunting. Like, and I'm someone that comes from a background of having a general knowledge of all the different things, had never purchased a home before, but yeah, again, had general knowledge, and it still just felt so daunting. And
Right.
I think one of the biggest gifts to us was the way that you walked us through every step and like educated us. Like you brought your educator background to the table, and you really laid everything out for us, step by step, reiterated things multiple times for us till we got it. And that was so helpful, because this isn't an area that we're going to be experts in, especially not first time. And we've heard so many stories from friends who like walk through it and then end up being like, wait, what just happened?
Right,
because
right,
no one's
right.
and so that's just something we're really grateful for, because I think, we had a few of our own preconceived ideas, but at the end of the day, we really just didn't know what all it entailed.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
certainly didn't know what opportunities were afforded to us based on, different things. And you brought that all to light for us, and then explained everything. And so we're really, really grateful for that. And that was a game changer for the process for us.
Well, that's because you guys were like the easiest people to work with ever. y'all were
know.
like the ideal. Y'all were like the perfect clients. So y'all were. All right. So last big question. There are y'all, and not just, so I'm located in Austin, Texas, but my Memphis roots run deep, lived there for almost 10 years. Also got some clients out in the Atlanta, Georgia area. The one thing that Atlanta, Memphis, and Austin has in common, it's the same thing that every city in this country has in common. There are folks who are renting right now who probably could buy a home, but they're not. Right. And they might be watching this video thinking like, okay, like maybe I can be a first-time home buyer. For those folks out there, what's some advice that y'all would give someone who's maybe watching this video thinking about, hey, I wonder if this is a path that I can go down too?
I would say start with, I would imagine most cities have something similar to what we have, but we took a Tennessee-based like housing class, or home purchasing class, that was really helpful, and just kind of outlined what it looks like in the state of Tennessee, to purchase, what loans would be available, what assistance programs to offer assistance, that type of things. And that was a great starting place for us.
Awesome.
And I think also sometimes just from taking the class, there are benefits. As far as
I think it was good, but then also like, not to keep bringing you up, Parker, but like having somebody competent that knows what he's doing. I mean, the work that Homestar did for us was just like huge, and I feel like we were blessed to have that access. So for people out there, being able to have a company, or an organization is going to vouch for you as far as like what's the best loan opportunity is huge.
Totally. I mean, we had an issue with the appraisal come up, and
oh man, that's a different podcast. That's a podcast series.
That's different. But it was just like you took care of us in that way, and we're grateful. And I mean, we've had, I think, 3 friends since we closed have told us that they've used y'all, and we're just like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
So yeah,
the coaching tree, right? It's the Homes coaching tree. Yeah.
I know. And they weren't even people. I mean, we had told them about you, but they were already using you. So it's just cool to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like finding the resources for, self-education, to get the ball rolling, and then getting yourself connected to people that can keep that going.
That's awesome.
Get you in the right spot.
One thing I'll echo before we say goodnight, because I know, Brian, you got papers to grade, and Emily, you got like a business to run. But I think that, yes, obviously I would love for anyone watching this video who's interested in becoming a first-time home buyer to give me a call or email me, of course. But more importantly than that is, what I would say is, no matter what lender you choose, do make sure that lender is giving you at least some form of direct access. I've had a lot of clients I've worked with the last 6 weeks who I've been their second, sometimes third lender. And it's because they can't get in touch with the lender, or if they can get in touch with someone, it's like an assistant who's just passing messages along. And what I would just encourage people is find a lender who you can have direct access to, because especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to be able to have access to the person who's going to be lending you the biggest chunk of money that you'll probably ever borrow in your entire life. And that's a really scary and terrifying, but also brave and courageous step to take. And so you need to have direct access to a lender to make sure that you've got someone walking alongside with you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if it's not
That's
me,
so
find
true.
somebody else.
Well, and just to your point, that's so true. And I think I felt very surprised as we walked through the process with you that we had that, because I very much was expecting, you know, what I've heard from anyone else buying a house is it's just kind of this person in a bank that also is connected to, I mean, like you said, it's like
Right.
you can never get direct access to them. And I was very like pleasantly surprised at just how present you were in answering all our questions along the way, at making sure things, keeping the ball going, just all
Right.
those things. And I feel like a lot of first time home buyers out here don't even know how to set their expectations that high, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
no, you do. And like, if you're a first time home buyer, you deserve the absolute best. You do, because it's an important step. And I will say, Emily, that, you know, the whole direct access and being responsive, Brian knows I learned that skill forged in the fire of, if you don't return an upset parent's phone call, that's that teacher and principal coming out of me, man. If you don't return that phone call, if you don't return that text, you don't return that email, it is not good. So no, I was super happy to do that for y'all. Well, all right, Brian, Emily, thank you so much. Y'all really are dear friends, and now you're homeowners, and that's so exciting. I can't wait to be a part of y'all's journey down the road, because we got plans. Let's build some equity. Let's do a cash out refi a couple of years down the road. Let's go ahead and buy another house. Let's get that generational wealth going. Let's do it.
Thank you, Parker.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a good night.
You too.
You too.
All right, bye.